guys, welcome to episode 18 of Dash and Holmesy Take Your Hearts. I'm one of your hosts, Dash, along with my co-host, Holmesy. Hello.
Boys, how we doing?
Mate, episode 18. Oh boy.
Unexpected extra episodes continuing on.
We're still doing them. And it's like, last episode I said, yeah, this is the finale of Dash and Holmesy Take Your Hearts.
Psych.
This is now gone on every time. So I'm no longer going to be saying this. I'm no longer going to be saying finale at all.
Yeah.
Because I've done it 3 times now that I've said it's a finale, and it hasn't been.
Yeah. Always an extra one. There's always more coming out. Persona is just forever growing.
Exactly. And there's a potential that we might even try something different down the line too. I mean, with the podcast being back and all every couple or so months, we want to diversify things. So we
change things up a little.
Yeah, so we might try something different every so often. But guys, if you didn't know, this is Dash and Holmesy Take Your Hearts. Once our tri-weekly book club inspired gaming podcast. Now it's just Take Your Hearts is our Persona inspired gaming podcast where we sit down and talk about all things Persona. And with our other spin-off series as well in between. But for today, it is going to be Persona. And for today, we're going to be checking out Persona 5, the animation. Is it the animation? Yeah. So
I think it's the animation.
Yeah, it's the animation. That's right. Persona 5, the animation. I was thinking the animated series for a second. It's actually Persona 5, the animation.
Got me wondering. Now I'm going to go pop this open.
It's Persona 5, the animation. It's now streaming on AnimeLab. The series first premiered in Japan on April 8th and was localized on September 28th, 2020. If you like what you hear today, make sure that you follow us over on SoundCloud, iTunes, and Spotify. Give us those cheeky 5-star ratings. They surely help us out. And also catch the VOD over on dashgamer.com and on YouTube. Subscribe, hit that bell, give us a like, leave us a follow, give us a comment. Let us know your thoughts and feedback. It really, really helps us out. Chris.
Yo.
Now, Persona 5, the animation. This was something that, I said back at our New Year's Eve special in 2018. We discussed, the potential of us actually talking about this series and also you diving into it. Now, the reason that we held off on it was that I advised you to finish the game first, and then we would discover it afterwards. I never thought we would actually be talking about it afterwards. And the reason I say that is because the series itself, when it first premiered in Japan, wasn't that crash hot.
Oh, wow. Okay, I'm kind of surprised.
And that's the reason why I told you to hold off on it. It wasn't that well received. A lot of people were like, well, I don't know about the animation. I think and we're going to get into that in a second. There's a reason for that. And well, the reason is because the animation on it wasn't crash hot. It was very subpar in terms of what you would get in the video game in terms of their cutscenes compared to what was presented within the animated series. Yeah. So I want to ask you first, what were your initial thoughts upon viewing the very first episode of Persona 5 the animation?
It's been a long time since I played the game, so it was a cool refresher to, I guess, get back into it and, get back into the Persona 5 world. Mm-hmm. I myself, I guess, am not a big anime connoisseur, so to speak. So in terms of comparing animation styles, I know a lot of people out there are really into their anime and they'll know oh, I love the animation styles in XYZ and all that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. I liked it. It still looks good. I've definitely seen better animation though as well. It's no shining diamond in the rough kind of thing, this amazing anime that people may not have seen. It could definitely be better though.
Oh yeah, definitely.
But it's good. I do like it though. I've been enjoying watching it so far.
Awesome. So one thing I want to ask you is, have there been any highlights of the series so far that have kind of differed or been, I guess, have stood out more than what it did in the video game?
Definitely. One thing I really, really like, that I'm just going to say straight away is the elements of the game that they've included in the actual series, the different personas with their the elemental attacks. I love that. Obviously, they have to bring that across, but it's cool seeing it animated now.
Yeah.
But the altogether attack, the big combo, and they're finally Yeah, the all-out attack they're doing, like I really really like seeing that in an animated form.
Yeah.
I was actually seeing that for each different character as time goes by. I think we saw the first one was Ren.
Yeah.
Seeing him do his first one, and then I think the second one was Arn. We got seeing Arn Takamaki do one.
Yeah.
And then there was a group one they did, I think, with the three of them, like Ren, Arn, and I think it might have been Ryuji or Morgana, but that was like a cool combo one they did. Seeing the game elements come to life in an anime, while again we said the animation is not as, it's not as amazing as many people may like want. Yeah. I love seeing that actually in an anime now. Like it just, I know after playing the game, it kind of brings a novelty factor to seeing it in an actual animated series. Yeah.
So that was actually one of the things that was criticized within the initial release, was the quality of the all-out attack compared to the video game. A lot of the a lot of the animation cells that were produced within the anime initially were not that great. They redid it for the localization, so it actually stood out a lot better. Cool. It was poorly designed compared to so like I'm actually going to send you a clip through Facebook so you can actually have a quick tease of it. But basically, it was poorly received because the design was very very plain. I'll put it that way. And the thing is, like, what they did was they took that, and when they did the localization, they kind of adapted more of the video game design. So like there was a lot, like some of the key fundamentals of its design had those stars in the background with the words and all that. It was omitted from the animation, and you'll probably see it in a second when it pops up.
Yeah, it's loading now. I'm watching it on YouTube. I was seeing like the original one.
Yeah. And so a lot of people were just like, wow, that is stark and compared to like in comparison.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Now I've seen where he's holding his glove and like it's just like the enemy in the background. There's no text, no shattered stars, no textures around the edges and stuff like they've added and all that. Yeah, and even like the actual where they're slashing across, there's no like blink, like the 4-point flashes of light they had and stuff like that is all completely removed. So yeah, now the one I've seen though is definitely better. I've seen the redone one. You've just shown me the
original. So the thing is, when the localization happened, they knew that they had to improve on a lot of things. The original had a lot of problems in design where there were characters and their character cells on screen almost cut off at some points. Some of the animation cells they didn't complete and render before they actually aired it on TV.
Oh.
Yeah, so there were some problems within there were some big problems.
There were some hiccups,
big time.
Man.
Yeah. So my question is now, like, viewing it as an anime compared to the video game, obviously putting 100 and whatever hours we did initially in our first playthroughs, how is it now being 13 episodes in? I think it was, you said 13 episodes in.
Yeah, right on halfway.
And being halfway now into the story, how much more are you enjoying it as a streamlined approach?
I'm enjoying it. I'm liking it a lot. There's obviously it cuts out a great deal of time watching the series, and there's I don't know how to word this. I don't quite know how to articulate this properly, but as a compact series, if you don't have the time to sit down and play the game, the animated series or the animation is definitely the way to go.
Yeah.
I would say though, if you do have the time, and even if you're playing it like me over the course of an entire year, I would recommend playing the game still.
Yes.
I don't know. While you get the story, like you can sit down and watch the full story in 26 episodes of the anime, and that's great. I think it's 26, or maybe there's a second season. I don't quite know if the full 26 episodes the entire game, or is it spaced out over 2 seasons?
So the full 26 episodes reflect the campaign, the entire campaign.
Okay, cool. Yes, if you want to basically live the game or watch the series, and you don't have the time to play, watch the animated series. But if you plan on playing the game, whether it's blasting through it in a matter of like weeks or you want to space it out over a year, I'd recommend playing it.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I think you get the sense of satisfaction of being the one to do everything all the way through. There's a lot more dialogue, obviously, in the actual game that you see. There's a lot that is skipped over. it's almost like the animation is like the Harry Potter movies compared to the books.
Yeah,
I guess it's like that's the first thing that comes to mind. Like so many people were like, I can't believe they missed out these things from this part in the book and the stuff. And it's like people who've only watched the movies go, what are you talking about? Yeah, it's a different experience playing the game. Granted, it is also significantly longer. 90 plus hours of game time, if you play it quickly, is a lot. And I spent over 100. So yeah, if time is something you are poor on, watch the series.
Yeah, I agree with you. The thing is with the series, like you said, they cut out a lot of dialogue and a lot of scenes that were imperative to progressing the narrative initially within the series. Oh, sorry, within the campaign of the video game. The series itself does a good job at cutting the fat, but it also cuts a lot of what was important, and that is a problem too. Because
where are my conversations with Sojiro? goddammit?
Yeah, exactly. They're so minimal, and that guy was like a keystone of this.
He's Persona Dad.
Yeah, exactly. Look, I think they did a great job when they localized the series. I was like, yes, they got everybody back in terms of the voice actors, and even Sojiro is a voice actor. And like, I was like, if they recast anybody. If they were to recast Sojiro, I would have been disappointed, but they didn't, and they brought everybody back, which was good.
I would like to think, if anything, they would have recast people because the voice actors weren't able to do it, though. Not that they didn't want to, because I mean, if a voice actor turned around and said, "No, I don't want to do Persona 5 voice acting for like the series," I'd be like, "Oh, that kind of hurts."
Yeah. Well, there is one voice actor that I know that they recast, which was Dr. Tai Takemi.
I thought, okay.
So they recast her as well in Royal. So
I see. I haven't played that properly yet. I only played, I think, like the beginning to get a taste of the game, and that was it.
Yeah. So that's one thing I know that you got to get to is the ending of Royal as well, because there was an article that went up the other day about how good the ending of Royal was, like how important the importance of it attached to the original story, which is like, it blew my mind, to be completely honest. But anyway, so like the point is, Sojiro didn't get enough airtime on the animated series in my thought. Like, it was just like, okay, a lot of his dialogue was important to Ren Amamiya's, and that's something we're going to talk about in a second. Ren's progression, Ren's character growth. How did you feel about Ren as a character, and how do you feel about him actually having a name now instead of, what was it? What was his name that you gave him?
Oh, Weeaboo Senpai or something like that.
Senpai, that's the one.
Yeah. So it's definitely a different name to what I picked for him when I was playing the game. But I don't know, Ren Amami is I like his name. I'll definitely say I like his name. They picked a cool name for him to have in the series now. It kind of makes me want to like delete. I haven't played through more of Royal since. I played the start and that was it. So I kind of want to delete my save and start again and call him Ren, just so it fits with the animation now.
Yeah,
that's
like what I do too. Yeah.
I've gone off on a tangent now. Hey,
because it's canon now.
It is, yeah. Now it is actually canon.
Yeah.
What was the original question again? I've gone off on a tangent talking about just the name.
What do you think of Ren's character growth throughout the series? Without the guidance, with almost like light guidance of Sojiro.
Yeah. It feels very rushed in a way.
Yeah.
But I will commend the way they've done it. I say rushed, and this is it sounds like a detractor. I will say that they have done a great job of fitting in his development with the other characters, or his growth with the characters in the game.
Yeah.
And yeah, I don't want to write it off as saying that like they could have done a better job, because I think they've done a great job so far at this point.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you played the game and you watch the series, there's absolutely a lot that is missing.
Yes.
But I will definitely say whoever is like the writers that have put the animation together and fit what they think is important, so far I feel like they've calculated really well what they could include. Like there's heaps of, like, I've just, at the bit I'm up to now, obviously we don't have dates in this compared to the game, although I know anybody that's played the game will know the exact day that I'm talking about in the game. But I'm up to the part where Yusuke is approached by, I've forgotten his name now, but the friend of Madarame's that wants to bring him into the art school, and he's just respectfully declined after making his second artwork in Mementos, saying that I've got my friends to support me instead. So that's where I've just gone. But that particular part, You see his growth and development. You see Ren's growth and development with Yusuke as a relationship. You also see it with Makoto taking her out to the arcade, with Ann being there for her friend, like jumping off the building, all that kind of stuff. Like,
Yeah.
I like what they've done to kind of show, like, portray his growth through his relationships of the characters in the series. I think that's been well done.
It's quite difficult to summarize 100 and whatever hours in whole into, you know, into a 26 episode animated series. You know, it pretty much is trying to throw it into a pot and basically shrink it down.
I'm doing something now while you're talking about that. Give me a
No,
sec.
no, go.
Keep going.
Yeah, no, please go for it. You know, it really is trying to. It is really hard to summarize that entire experience into this series, and it was a question that was. It was asked around the community for a long time, like, how are you going to summarize that scale of a video game and its campaign that took you over a year to complete into a television series? It's jarring.
It's almost, if I've done the math correctly, like the episode 14 that I just clicked on, disregard even the intro and the outro, well, actually including that, sorry, and that's obviously no content in it. That episode goes for 24 minutes, so we'll just round up to, we'll say 25 minutes per episode. So 25 minutes per episode times 26 episodes. So 25 times 26 equals 650 minutes. 650 divided by 60 for an hour equals 10.8, which is nearly 11 hours. So you're condensing what could potentially be a 110-hour game into 11 hours of content instead. That's 10% of the entire game's time. And that's also minus 11 hours out of that, minus something from the 11 hours there for the intro and outro bit as well. So that's a lot of time to condense.
Yeah.
That's a mammoth task when you put it in that perspective.
Yeah.
You're cutting an entire game down to 10% of its size for an animated series.
Quick math. Yeah. So it really is. Yeah, it was really one of the question that Beck in the community that was like, man, like that experience summarized like that may be detrimental to its quality, and to some points, it has been. There have been some detrimental qualities that have been put forth in terms of, you know, the campaign's story being squashed, but at the same time, it's also been presented in a way that's perfect for people who do not have that time on hand but really want to experience this campaign. Because it's honestly, and I jump back to the video game, Persona 5, the original, is honestly one of the best video games of this generation. And for people who aren't RPG fans, who aren't into you know, long campaigns that take forever, it really does set apart. Okay, look, you don't have to play the game; you can watch the television series. It's for those people. It really
feels
is.
like almost two extremes though as well, I guess. Like, I'm sure there are some people out there that is like, it's either 11 hours of content or 110 hours of content. That feels like there's no middle ground, and I'm sure there's some people out there wondering, why couldn't they have made the episodes 45 minutes to an hour long instead, to include more content, more conversations between characters, and more growth and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
There is a lot of, I'm glad at least though, there's a lot of white noise, I guess, or like what would have been translated into white noise in the animated series that would have been unnecessary. And I like what they've done to cross over some of those things. One of the examples I've just gone by is with Akechi. We're talking to him while working with him on one of his cases, and they've incorporated one of our training things in the batting cages. And we've got to see us training, but with Akechi and talking to him at the same time. So they've incorporated something that we used to do into the series. Just be like, here's a little Easter egg of the thing that you used to do back in the game, but it's in the series. So yeah, I think personally for me, they've picked a good length for each episode, but I'm sure there are people out there that would have wanted something longer.
Oh, sure. Speaking of which, and kind of going on a theme that you're just talking about in comparison. So comparing some of the animated cutscenes with from the game to what you presented here, and some of the events and some of the tweaks that have been made. Has there been anything stand out here that has kind of been like, oh wow, okay, either I didn't realize that, I didn't know that happened, or this is new?
Anything new? Oh, actually, between the two, I will say I'm glad that they gave Ren multiple personas.
Yep.
I wasn't sure if they were actually gonna. I mean,
Just
it's part of the
stick with
game,
one.
of course.
Yeah.
But I almost thought, for the sake of design and having the same guy go with us all the way through, that they were going to keep Arsene looks sick.
Yeah.
Like he's one of the coolest looking personas in the game. So I thought they give him just Arsene all the way through, but they actually show you merging and sacrificing personas and all that kind of stuff, and showing you gameplay aspects in the actual animated series, which I really, really liked all that.
Mm-hmm.
I also liked that they showed you it was funny to watch, but Morgana transforming into a car. I'm glad that we got to actually take some time down in Mementos. Yeah. I know obviously Mementos is important to the story and all that kind of stuff, but yeah. I didn't actually expect us to spend much, if any, time down there in the actual series. I thought we'd maybe get a quick nod to it and being yeah, we're going to use this place to do blah, 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 practice, train, get better, persona thing. But no, we actually got a whole separate spin-off of showing us picking up somebody's, changing somebody's heart from the Persona fan site. I was really, really glad to see that come across in the series as well.
What was your thoughts about Akechi's portrayal within this series? Because they really, really highlight him here, rather than kind of lightly touch. They lightly touch on Akechi within the video game during the campaign. Here and there, and you familiarize yourself with the character until you get to the certain mission in, I believe it was Cyanijima's palace. How do you feel like they really they heavily involved Akechi within this series and highlighted him in almost each episode?
Yeah.
What were your thoughts on that?
I mean, the last thing I've just done, one of the things towards the end of the episode I've just watched now, was us sitting down and playing a game of chess with Akechi inside LeBlanc with Sojiro watching us, and we're playing chess, and he's talking about whether the Phantom Thieves are just, and yeah, he pops up all over the place. They've really got him in there a lot, and it's for anybody who hasn't played the game, I don't think it's going to be super obvious though. I will say one thing I'm so happy they included, and one thing that really blew my mind going back, the retrospect kind of thing, getting to the end of the game, and I can't remember the day. I don't remember the actual day that this happens, but where we're talking amongst ourselves, everybody's together. We've got the four for the team at the time. We didn't quite have Yusuke in the team, I don't think. And Morgana talks about eating pancakes, and Akechi hadn't come around the corner yet. But Morgana picks up on the fact that he could understand what Morgana was saying, but didn't bring it up. And then we think about it later in the series. And so Morgana obviously knows something about that. I'm so glad they kept that in the animation, because if they left that out, I would have been disappointed. It's such a cool little thing that viewers could pick up on, and something that I definitely missed playing the game, but I've seen it in the animation now. I've been I know what's going on here. I know this now.
It's honestly a very...
it is the biggest and most important breadcrumb.
One of the most important moments of the entire game, and the entire story, to kind of connect the dots as well. And the thing is, they did a really good job in hiding it in the game. If you weren't smart enough to pick up on that, I had no idea.
Yeah, no, I did not know.
Yeah, until the end, I was like, man, they gotta know he's sus. They have to know he's sus. And then at the end of it, and then when Morgana says he mentioned pancakes, and I mentioned pancakes, how was he supposed to hear that? And I was like,
unless he's in the metaverse, yeah.
I was like, oh my god, how did I not pick up on this the first time?
He's the with the black mask.
yeah. So, man, it really did blow my mind when they first spoke about that. It was a really, really good moment. It was honestly one of my favorite moments of the entire campaign. But yeah, and I'm really glad, as you said, I'm really glad that they included it here. It really was imperative that they did, to kind of show novel progression throughout each character, and how it really just did a really good job in narrative progression. That's all.
Yeah. I'm gonna come back to one of your questions real quick, because you said something just now.
Okay.
What did you mean by additions in the animation? You said anything that they've done together, or anything they've done from the game, the animation, or any additions. What is there that there's additions of that if I missed something there?
Oh, look, there's some small quirks, there's some differences that have changed throughout the series that they kind of streamlined, or either added some moments to kind of a heightened.
Like conversational editions.
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
yes, yeah. I couldn't actually give you an example of a specific one, but I know because I kind of sat down and binged a few episodes. I know that I've seen conversations that have been had that weren't done in the game. So yes, yeah, and I do like what they've done to kind of like relationship build or like kind of get that in there.
It gives a little bit of originality. Yeah.
No, definitely yes.
Well, the good thing is that as well, you also kind of, I won't say you rushed the campaign, but
no, definitely not.
you played the story, like it's impossible to rush, but you played the main story of the campaign, so you kind of avoided, and I don't say that negatively, but you avoided playing a lot of the side campaigns or side stories. Here, it streamlines that, and you presented some more of the story, essentially.
Yes.
But because you're only halfway through, I don't want to spoil anything. Here we go again with spoilers again.
Well, it might be if there's stuff that I have not, if there's stuff that's added in that I haven't seen from the game or anything that I've just not played from the game, there may be some spoilerinos in there for me still.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and the thing is, mentioning that you probably want to go back and play Royal again, you probably want to find some of these events as well, because even for me, one of them was a I was surprised. I didn't know, but one of them is a confidant that I had no idea about.
Okay, all right, yeah.
That's
interesting.
There is a confidant that we did not speak about for the entirety of our podcast series that I only found out about within this, and I was like,
"What?
Where is this? How do I get it? And what the fuck? How did I miss this?
When even? Okay, yeah, that's interesting.
I have played almost 1,000 hours of this game, and I still did not know about this confidant.
That's insane. You've got like nearly half the hours that I have at Destiny 2, and I play that game a lot. That's insane.
Yeah, well, yeah. I don't know how to respond to that.
You can't get out of it. No, it's just like I play the game a lot.
I do.
Moving on.
But the thing is, there are going to be key moments that you'll pick up on and go, I didn't know about that. I didn't know about that. Holy shit, that links to that. And I believe that you're at a point where you have, you're at episode 13, and this is a great point for us to kind of review and also kind of break, and then come back with in our second part of this.
Well, take two or part two.
And also talk about some of these imperative moments that you missed out on in the game, but have now come to realize within the second half of the campaign here. And that's the thing. Like, for me, it was groundbreaking. I was like, oh my God, the story has become clearer now, and I understand it more. We'll touch on that when we come back to it. But I want to also talk about what you're expect. Like, I know that you've seen the series. Played the campaign right through. Mm-hmm. What are you expecting? Basically, the exact same finish to this.
Yeah, pretty much. At this point in time, like I don't know what they would do any different. I guess like the people that the palaces that you go through and the people that you encounter, I can't see them making that too much different from. I'm sure there might be some different dialogue again, different conversations from what we've already seen in the animation.
Yep.
But I can't see them deviating too much from what we get at the end of the game. The only things that it's been a little while now, so any hardcore Persona fans, please forgive. But the only things that I remember that you can really have differentiate much are the people that you choose to romance and how strong your confidants are at the end. So I can't really see the end of the animation be that much different from what you get in the game.
Now, I can't remember if you're up to this episode or not, but I'll mention it because it's obviously not a spoiler. Have you done the episode? Have you watched the episode with the teacher and how you guys kind of hide within the hotel room and she comes and does? Oh
yeah. Yes, we've done that. Yes.
Did you see the canonical choice that they made within the series?
Wait, which one? Which bit?
So, I can't
remember which bit you choose now. I can't remember what you actually decide on.
So they gave you 3 choices in the game, and one of them, and I know that you picked the one that was canon within the series. So, she comes in, she starts flirting with you, and she's like, well, you look a little young, and you're sweating, and you go,
oh, I'm a dad?
I'm a dad.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's just so the voice actor is Xander Mobus. He's actually the narrator of Super Smash Brothers, by the way. For those
no
who
way.
don't know. Yeah. So he's the exact same guy who does the 3, 2, 1. Exact same guy.
That's cool.
Yeah. So and he portrays Ren in the game and he portrays Ren in the series. So it's actually good to get dialogue from Ren, and that's actually something I was going to talk to you about as well. But for him, like, to kind of just sit there, sweat, and then go, "I'm a dad." I freaked out. I was like, man, what are they going to make him say? And when he said, "I'm a dad," oh my god, I lost it. It was great.
I did like that.
Yeah, so, and the thing is, like, because you chose it as well.
Yeah.
Made it even better. I want to ask you, so, like, how is it now? Obviously, our protagonist was a voiceless character. You controlled his narrative by talking for him, by, choosing a dialogue. How is it now actually watching the series and having it, one, getting chosen for you, and two, actually having the character speak?
I like it a lot more. I almost wish that the character spoke in the game instead of kind of leaving it to be like, it's like you're the character kind of thing.
Yeah.
I was saying, I actually mentioned this. Here we go. Breaking the fourth wall. I spoke to Dan before this and said that if I start playing Persona 5 Royale again, if I restart it, I'm actually just going to delete my save and rename the character to Ren, so it's actually canon.
Yeah.
Or like correct with like the animation, because I like the character in this game having an identity and voice lines and like having more, I don't know, it just gives him more personality instead of it just being like it's me.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it's good. I like it a lot more.
Yeah. And that's the thing, like, obviously sitting down and enjoying the character a lot more than, like, they don't give him like complete, like, he's still kind of silent in a way. He still represents that silent protagonist. He's not overbearing within the series, The Phantom Thieves, his partners within the Phantom Thieves still get the airtime that they deserve as well. And but they really do kind of emphasize his character a lot more as an introvert more than anything.
Yeah.
And that's great, and that's what you want. You want to showcase that silent protagonist as that introvert, and they do it amazingly. Coming out of the first 13 episodes, who has been... And this is the thing. The entire game, I asked you who's your favorite character so far. Would have been Sojiro.
Mm-hmm.
His favorite character out of the animated series?
Ren.
Okay.
Yeah.
How come?
I get to hear more of him.
Okay.
I like his voice actor. I like his voice actor. I like his character.
Yeah.
I like how much he kind of... I like the way that his friends receive what he says. I like that he can say so much without saying so... I like that he can say so much by saying so little.
Yeah.
And he's kind of like, he's just such a cohesive character in the whole thing. He brings everybody together, and just like seeing how integrally he is to the team, with like him doing track with Ryuji, helping Yusuke with painting, taking out Makoto to become more fun. Just like all this different stuff that you get to see. Like, you're doing it yourself, but you don't have any voice in the game per se.
Yeah.
And now just like seeing those from the third person perspective, like you're not controlling anything, just watching it. I like the way they've portrayed his character in the game more. So yes, it's Ren at the moment.
Awesome. So going back to the early episodes of Take Your Heart, your favorite character switched from Sojiro to Ryuji, and then back to Sojiro. And then you kind of you were warm on Yusuke for a bit as well. So I want to ask you, kind of like across those characters as well, how have you felt like their portrayal? Has it changed from the game to the animated series at all? Like, I know Ryuji in this is a touch more eccentric, to be completely honest. Like, I feel like his character is a little more, and it's great. I got a highlight on screen right now where actually I can't speak about this part because you haven't seen it yet. But
up.
Yeah. But it's at the beach basically. But you'll see it when you see it. So basically, I feel like Ryuji's character is a little more eccentric. So is Yusuke's as well. How do you feel about their character changes or personality differences between the game and the anime?
Yeah, definitely. I feel like you hear and see a lot more from both characters so far. Like for Ryuji and Yusuke, which I really really like.
Yeah.
I feel like I've just gotten to the point where Ryuji's gonna start being the dickhead to the point where I didn't like him, because this is now where the fan site is starting to pick up, and he's like, yeah, we're getting popular and stuff.
Yeah.
And I remember getting shitty with him when we were standing at our hideout, the one that's like at the freaking train station.
Yeah.
And him standing there and talking out loud about being the Phantom Thieves and having everything blow up and all this kind of stuff. And it's like, shut up. People are going to hear you. Like, I hated how like outward he was about it all. And that's what really turned me off with him. Him get like the kind of fame go to his head sort of thing.
Yeah.
Yusuke I still like again, but because I have seen so much more of Ren, though, I feel like this kind of just like overshadowed anything else any other characters got as like extras. I'm just like way more invested in Ren. I will say that they've made Makoto look way more badass in the anime too. Like when she came out on the bike and everyone's like, holy shit, that's sick.
Yeah.
And then her like teaming up with An and like their relationship, like them kind of like being like homies for a bit there too is pretty cool. But no, still the amount of dialogue and the amount you see from Ren still is just so much more than what I feel like you get pushed towards you in the game. So I'm liking him in the animation.
Yeah, no, that's awesome, dude. So God, who was so have you met all the confidants yet within the animated series yet, or no?
I'm trying to remember if there's anybody I'm missing now. I'm forgetting names, but we've met the news reporter. We've met the doctor. We've met because I remember going down to the bar and then like the yeah, I remember that bit.
What about the Phantom Thieves? Who are you up to there? It's just Yusuke?
Yusuke was the last.
Okay, so you haven't met Futaba yet. Okay.
No, I haven't met Futaba. I think she's next, right?
She should be next, I believe.
She's number 6, yeah?
Yeah, I believe so.
So Futaba's next, but that's it. So I haven't met anybody else past that so far.
Okay, cool. So you haven't gotten up to that yet. That's all right. That's the meeting of Futaba is actually like one of the best parts of this animated because they took it up a notch. Like I mentioned the animation being there, but this is the point where they really took it up a notch and you can start seeing the animation gets better. And there was one point of that where, do you remember the episode? Do you remember the part of the campaign episode? Do you remember the part of the campaign where you sneak into Sojo's house?
Yeah, because you're trying to
meet her.
Right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. That is one of the best moments of the series, and I'm not going to say why. You're going to see it, and then we'll come back and talk about it in the new year.
Okay,
because that'll be. I can't wait to see your reaction to that.
I'm interested to find out why. Yeah.
Yeah. Any other highlights or anything else that you want to point out so far of the anime?
I think I've kind of already covered like most of the stuff that I was excited about.
Mm-hmm.
Having the multiple personas is still probably one of the coolest things. Seeing like the actual, I didn't expect it to introduce that level of like the game's mechanics per se into it. I was just thinking like it'll be easier for them to draw us in all the time. Probably, I feel like that'll be the guy they'll stick with.
Yeah,
wrong.
Yeah.
But I'm pleasantly surprised with it all so far. It's definitely going to be a good choice for people to sit down if they haven't got time to play an 100-hour game.
One thing I forgot to actually mention was the Velvet Room. So going back to the Velvet Room and meeting Igor and everything like that, how do you feel? How do you feel how his character connection? Well, Igor and his character connection so far with Ren has been. I like they kind of add a little bit more into like the twins as well in the series.
I've noticed that.
A little bit more attitude.
Actually, just the last thing again that I saw with the twins was like them smiling or them being happy about Ren's rehabilitation, and then him smiling and them being like, "Why are you smiling? You should be smiling. You should be laughing or like be like feel amusement at us being happy," kind of thing.
Yeah.
I like the personality they've given them. I feel like he's almost in a way kind of fallen to the wayside though.
Mm-hmm.
Going back to what we were talking about before when we were saying like Akechi gets quite a bit of spotlight and they kind of point to him a lot in the game. In the animation, sorry. Igor, I feel like we hardly have seen him past like the first few episodes. Like I feel like maybe like this is just like ballpark number episode kind of thing. This may not be exactly right, but I feel like we saw a fair bit of him from episodes 1 to 4 and then hardly saw much from 5 through till 13, like until like towards like maybe where I am now. So obviously if you played the game, he's a pretty important character.
Yep.
But I feel like they've kind of drawn you away from him to think about Akechi as the most interesting person to focus on.
Do you think they did that because there's going to be a lot of newcomers to the narrative?
Possibly, yeah. I guess like to make you not think about like the a different antagonist. Maybe think that there's going to be something Akechi's like the main bad boy kind of thing or whatever. But yeah, he hasn't compared to the length of the anime and where I'm at. I feel like he's not gotten a lot of screen time. But I guess we'll see what happens in the next 13 episodes. If he gets a lot more, then I guess I would probably say that that's by choice that they've kept him off screen for a lot.
Have you noticed that they really haven't highlighted Shido much?
Yeah. Okay.
That's another thing too. One other thing I want to point out to you as well is that Ren Amamiya was not his first canonical name. His first canonical name within the franchise itself was actually Akira Kurusu, and that was actually within the manga. So they actually gave him a different name within the manga. And a lot of people were like, okay, his name's Akira Kurusu. And then when they named him Ren Amamiya, people were like really mad about that, obviously, because it's different and people don't like change. But now it's kind of grown on people now, and that's what he is, Ren Amamiya, or like some of the memes say, Ren Mamma Mia. So yeah,
all right, that's good.
There's a little bit of trivia for you, Holmesy. Holmesy, before we do wrap up, I just want to actually jump into some news. This one comes by way of Shannon over at Press Start, who says PlayStation Plus collection will bring a heap of free games from PS4 games to your PS5. So anybody who's a member of PlayStation Plus will actually get Persona 5 for free on PlayStation launch. So if you're getting yourself a PlayStation 5 on launch and you have PlayStation Plus, you get Persona 5 for free. And a whole bunch of other games like God of War, Bloodborne, Monster Hunter World, Final Fantasy 15, Fallout 4, Mortal Kombat X, Uncharted 4, and Ratchet & Clank. I know you've been playing a little bit of that lately too.
I've finished that now. I platinumed it,
yeah. So yeah, a whole bunch of games.
Oh, sorry, go on.
No, go on, please. Go. What were we going to say?
Is Persona 5, has that been optimized for PS5? Have they done any updates to make it work better on like 60 FPS, improved graphics at all? Or is it just going to be PS4 compatibility to PS5?
So it's rumored that they have. It's rumored that they have upgraded a lot of... many of these titles that they bring into PlayStation Plus collection have been optimized, including Detroit Become Human. God of War will run at 120 frames per second, which is just freaking insane.
Huh?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it said up to 60.
Nah, it's been upped. So there you go. But yeah.
That's nuts.
That's one little tidbit for people. But this one I want to have a little bit of a talk before we wrap up, Holmesy. It's a bit, I don't know what's going on here, but we covered this a little bit last episode, but this one comes by way of Robert Ramsey over at Push Square, who says Persona 5 Scramble localization in doubt after title is missing from Koei Tecmo's report. He says Persona fans have started feeling a little uneasy about the yet to be confirmed localization of Persona 5 Scramble. The action title was released in Japan near the beginning of this year, featured a Koei Tecmo financial report back in July, essentially pointing to a Western release at some point in the future. However, the company's latest report has no mention of Persona 5 Scramble, leading to fears that the localization may have been cancelled. From our perspective, we wouldn't worry too much about its absence. It could be a simple case of Koei Tecmo not wanting the internet to jump to conclusions when neither it or Sega are yet to make an official announcement. The bottom line is that the coronavirus has scooped. By the way, if you're listening to this in the future, we're still within the COVID-19 pandemic. Australia's just at the tail end of it, so fingers crossed. The coronavirus has scuppered everyone's plans over the last 8 months or so, and with the next generation of consoles set to dominate headlines going into 2021, it only makes sense to hold back on Scramble. So basically, there was a financial report that came out. Now, obviously, Koei Tecmo and Atlus were working together on development for Persona 5 Scramble, or Persona 5 Strikers, as they trademarked it in the Western release or whenever. But there was no mention of it in their last report. Now there are fears that the game may not make it out here at all. They might not actually reach out to localization teams for like dubs or anything else, or even just like translate the title. First of all, I'll say that makes me sad. I've played the game. It is excellent. I don't understand any of the dialogue, unfortunately, because it's all in Japanese. But the way it was portrayed and presented on screen, it really felt like a Persona 5 sequel.
What platforms was the game released on? Or has it been released on?
It has been released on PlayStation 4 and Nintendo Switch.
Okay. So I was wondering, my brain was going to whether it was on like a platform where people could make their own translations kind of thing, but PlayStation 4 is pretty well, you need to have some kind of, it's pretty well locked up. I think the same with Switch as well, so you need to...
Not necessarily.
Switch. I think it'd be a lot of work it'd be a very niche audience to patch or make your own translated patch for the game.
Well, the game is considerably shorter than Persona 5. I know that. It's about 30 hours, which is a decent length for this title. But the narrative is a true sequel. Like Atlas have said it themselves, this is Persona 5 Part 2. And if this does not make localization, I'll be kind of sad because, like, Persona 5's campaign itself, like, we have the Royal, which is canonical, but then we have this, which is canonical as well. It kind of spins off into different universes here. I'd be really, really disappointed if we did not get that. And I've even got a video up, I've got a walkthrough up of the gameplay at the moment, and it actually has somebody who's actually taken the time to translate the dialogue, with subtitles over the dialogue, which is fine. But if it does get to that point where we know that it's not actually coming, then I might even have to resort to watching the whole gameplay on YouTube just to kind of know what happens. That sucks. I want to play the game. I want to play.
Takes a lot of the fun out. Yeah.
Yeah. Your thoughts?
It's definitely disappointing. This is probably not the. I don't know whether this is quite the same. Actually, it's not the same because I got to play it still, but reminds me of PlayStation 2 days back when I saw Kingdom Hearts Final Mix come out in Japan and Japan only. And I remember seeing like there were extra keyblades, extra bosses, cool collectibles and stuff that you could only get in the Japanese version. Mm-hmm. And I considered like trying to read it and translate it myself to play the game. And I was like, that's too much effort for me to enjoy it. And I was just sad that I couldn't play it. Obviously in the future it came out in PS3 and PS4 remakes, but yeah, definitely I can empathize with people that are wanting that to come out in localized languages so they can actually enjoy it. Even if they brought it out with like Japanese voice acting still and had like the English dialogue, that'd be amazing. Like that'd be perfect for a lot of people still to be able to enjoy it. But
yeah, if their issue is actually like having to pay the voice actors and they don't want to do that and all that kind of stuff, then fine. It sucks because I would rather that they actually get the cast. It'd be a proper sequel doing that. It'd feel like a proper sequel doing that. But if that's the problem, then yeah, I mean, like, scrap that and just translate the dialogue, the written dialogue. It at least gives some clarity to some people who want a Persona 5 true sequel. This is it, and they've said it that this is it. But the problem now is that we're facing is that it might not come. And that sucks. But fingers crossed, it's only rumored. It's only heavily rumored right now. And like what Robert Ramsey over Push Square said, it could be the fact that they don't want to highlight it just in case they've delayed it because of COVID. So who knows? Who knows, really? Honestly, I would call it now that it's just a COVID delay. A COVID delay more than anything right now. And they kind of didn't want to highlight that just in case it pushed the internet further. To kind of, say, hey, when is it coming? When is it coming? Rather than doing that, then this is like, oh no, they might have cancelled it. But that's the problem too. They might have just turned around and caused a scuffle for the internet going, what happened to it?
Yeah.
Holmesy, that is it for this episode.
Easy done.
Yeah, man. Guys.
Flown by.
Yeah. Guys, if you didn't know, this has been Dash and Holmesy. Take your hearts out. Formally try. I gotta go update this script. Book club. By the way, before we do go, we are powered once again by Audio Technica. So thank you once again to Audio Technica for supplying myself and Holmesy our beautiful AT2020 mics, which we use for podcasting. My headset. Holmesy uses his microphone for streaming as well, which is really cool. So everything. Yeah. So thank you so much to Audio Technica once again for powering Dash and Holmesy Take Your Hearts. Dash and Holmesy Take Your Hearts was our tri-weekly book club of the Spy Gaming podcast. Now we just talk about the latest in the world of video gaming and also Persona 5 from time to time. We'll be back real soon with part 2 of the animation special that we're doing here within a couple of months or so, probably in the new year, more than likely. But don't forget to follow us so you're sure that you catch the second part on SoundCloud, iTunes, and Spotify. Give us those cheeky 5-star ratings. They surely help us out. And also catch the VOD over on dashgamer.com and on YouTube. Subscribe, hit that bell, give us a like, leave us a follow, and all that jazz surely helps us out. Been a pleasure, Holmesy. Been a pleasure.
As always.
Yes, mate.
Good to be back on it.
That's it. And until next time, this has been Dash and Holmesy. Take your hearts.
dashgamer.com